All right, for this video lesson, you're going to need the small hardcover issues book and your portfolio. Let's open the small hardcover issues book to page 37. We're going to pick up where we left off with this article, Ban It or Bag It. So let's start with section 2, which is in the bottom right-hand corner of page 37. Go ahead and find this in the book, and then let's follow along as I read. Lori Cusick, a spokesperson for the American Plastics Council, defends the usefulness of plastic bags for consumers. Remember, consumers are people who buy things. It is important to understand that plastic grocery bags are some of the most reused items around the house, she points out. Many bags are reused as book and lunch bags as kids head off to school, as trash can liners, and to pick up Fido's droppings off the lawn. Cusick also argues that the plastics industry is encouraging the implementation of recycling centers for the bags. Critics of the ban argue that consumers will always need something to put their shopping items in. Banning plastic bags would force people to use paper bags, which create their own environmental problems. According to the American Forest and Paper Association, 14 million trees are cut down to produce 10 billion paper grocery bags each year. Also, it takes more energy to produce and recycle paper bags than plastic bags. In fact, the production of paper bags creates more air and water pollution than plastic bag production. How do opponents of plastic bags respond? They point out that less than 12% of plastic bags, sacks, and wraps end up being recycled. Gordon Bennett of the Sierra Club, America's oldest environmental organization, offers this response on the paper versus plastic argument. The fundamental thing about trees is that if you manage them properly, they're a renewable resource. I haven't heard about the oil guys growing any more oil lately. All right, not too bad, a pretty short read. Notice this section is called Save the Bags. So everything that was being talked about in here was talking about how we can actually save the plastic bags and keep them. So now we're going to go into our portfolio, and we're going to kind of take some notes on this section. So keep out this hard-bound book, the issues book. Keep this out to these pages, and go ahead and open your portfolio to page 87. So here we are on the top of page 87, and the first note here says to read the section 2. We just did that. So now we're going to skip down to identify key ideas and details. So the discussion frame is the same as the usual one. What is the author's main idea? And the answer is, well, the author's main idea is, and then to be able to fill it in with these notes here. So let's look at this note here. It says, plastic bags can have blank, such as blank. So let's look at what an answer for the first question would be. So this says plastic bags can have benefits. That's one of the main ideas in this section. Remember, it's talking about save the bags. So plastic bags can have benefits, such as blank. Now, by looking through the article, I see that one of the benefits it mentions is reuse. All right, so plastic bags can have benefits such as reuse, which means just using over again. So now I want you to go through this next section here, where the question is, what are the key details in this section? These key details are talking about the main idea. Remember, the main idea is that plastic bags have benefits, and these key details are going to support this main idea. So go ahead and go through that section, section 2, and look for these key words here. This one says 14 million trees are cut down each year to blank. That's actually a number that was mentioned in the article. So if you find that number, you'll be able to find the answer to this blank. It also says it takes more energy to blank than plastic bags. So again, something mentioned in the article, and only 12% of plastic bags are blank. So right now, go ahead, pause the video, and find the answer to these points here so you can fill in these blanks accurately with details from the text. All right, let's go down to the condensing ideas section. So when asked us to paraphrase the first paragraph, that's something you're asked a lot to do in school, and we did this before, and it's to take a paragraph and say it again in your own words. Now, when we do that, when you paraphrase, you keep important topic words and you replace other words with synonyms or words that mean the exact same thing. So let's look at the actual paragraph that we're going to be paraphrasing here. So here's the first paragraph. It says, Lori Cusick, a spokesperson for the American Plastics Council, defends the usefulness of plastic bags for consumers. So we're going to take this sentence here and we're going to paraphrase it here. So the word spokesperson, as mentioned here, means representative, right? Someone who represents this council, the American Plastics Council. She's obviously for plastic bags because she works for the Plastics Council. Now, it says the word defends. What's a word that means the same thing as defends? If she defends the usefulness of plastic bags, a good word that would mean the same thing would be supports. She supports plastic bags or the use of plastic bags. Now it says, it is important to understand, and this is her speaking, that plastic grocery bags are some of the most reused items around the house, she points out. So when we go to summarize that, she says it's important to understand or grasp. Grasp is another word that we can use to replace the word understand. And as we go down, she says many bags are reused as book and lunch bags as kids head off to school, as trash can liners, and to pick up Fido's droppings off the lawn. Now, she uses Fido's. Fido is usually the name of a dog. Come here, Fido. So what she really means is a pet's, right? Pick up a pet's droppings off the lawn. So when we rewrite it down here, we're going to use a pet's instead of Fido's. So as we move on to this final sentence to paraphrase, it says, Cusick also argues that the plastics industry, and the plastic industry, we can just say makers of plastic, right? That the plastic industry is encouraging the implementation of recycling centers for the bags. So if they're encouraging, what's another word that means encouraging? And I'm not going to give you this one. All right. So the plastic industry or makers of plastic, they're encouraging the recycling of plastic bags. But when we write it down here, I don't want us to use the word encouraging. We're going to use a different one. So come up with a different word for encouraging. So now we're going to take kind of the paraphrase. I want to write it down here. It says, Lori Cusick, who represents the American Plastics Council, and she doesn't defend, right? We're going to change the word defend to supports. She supports the idea that plastic bags are useful to consumers because the bags are used more than once in people's homes. She talks about how they're reused. And she also says that makers of plastics, and we're going to say another word for encouraging, right? So whatever that word you came up with, makers of plastic, blank, creating recycling centers for plastic bags. So I'll say it again. Lori Cusick, who represents the American Plastics Council, supports the idea that plastic bags are useful to consumers because the bags are used more than once in people's homes. And she also says that makers of plastics blank, which is another word for encourage, creating recycling centers for plastic bags. Once you're done with this, I want you to go down and get this final section done. you're going to go through and look through that section, and you're going to find 2 more words that are domain specific, or words specific to this topic or domain, which is plastic bags. For example, the plastics industry is very specific to plastic bags. Find 2 words that only have to do with this topic. Then you're going to find 2 more high utility academic words, words that can be used in multiple places. Implementation is used in this article, but you can use this in many other places. So find 2 other high utility academic words in this article. Once you have done this, you will be done with this page.